One day I found this one and I saw this was only slightly damaged.
Iconic weapons from World War II. And what makes the West Wall so interesting is that it is not just a string of bunkers and tank obstacles, it compasses so much more. Having learned so many lessons from the First World War and how modern warfare can be conducted, it was a complete defensive solution, with hospital bunkers, rail connections, transports, logistics planned out and defended, ready-made roadblocks, and underground forward munition shelters and storages constructed into rock and stone. And as Hitler had ordered the army and Fritz Todt to prepare in-depth defenses, especially in front of the Ruhr industrial area and the most likely avenues for enemy advance, such as those leading to Aachen, this meant that also bridges had to be defended. And we have to start with one of the smallest fighting positions I have seen here before we go to the largest. These remains of once a beautiful bridge, officially starting with no name. It was later referred to as the Hindenburg Bridge, after Paul von Hindenburg, the famous field marshal and later president. However, in Germany, there's quite a few other bridges of the same name, making research a little complicated. Anyway, here was a truss rail bridge of 221 meters long. It was originally constructed in 1912 and originally intended to alleviate pressure on the Moselle bridges, just 1 kilometer down from here. That other bridge was bombed in 1944 on November 14 by mosquitoes, in order to support the Allied ground operations nearby in order to disrupt German supply routes. So this bridge, as far as we can tell, was blown up by the German army engineers sometimes later, in order to hinder the Allied advance. But these two pillboxes, built into the design, still remains, and actually as being part of the bridge design are quite well camouflaged. Not exactly sure it's places I would want to fight from, but still.
During the West Wall they put these shelters to the bridge, and it was destroyed by German army at 1945, I think, and never used after the war, and therefore left in ruins. The other side is vanished because there is a Kiesgrube in German.
And these two were actual shelters up here.
These two are actual shelters, one for machine guns and on the other side for 3-7 pack. The shelters are built during the West Wall area.
You have to love this. World War I bridge, reinforced for World War II, then destroyed to stop the American advance. And here are the little pillboxes.
So, this is a pillbox for the anti-tank gun 3.7. Those is made to drive the thing inside, the anti-tank gun inside. And in former time, this is a terrible thing. You can always read some inscriptions on this shelter, but today everything is sprayed. Therefore, you can read anything.
Yeah, there's no inscriptions left.
Probably on the other side.
So the puck would be in here.
The puck would here.
And firing that way.
Firing along the bridge. If somebody... The problem was the Moselle and the Saar, who goes into the Moselle at Konz. And this region was not originally fortificated by the West Wall. As late in 1939, they built the so-called Orscholzriegel. And therefore, they were afraid if enemy troops came this side over the bridge, they could fire on them. If you use this railway bridge for tanks or something else.
So where's France and Belgium from here? What direction?
Belgium is in the north. Here, if you look in this direction, there is Luxembourg, Belgium, and The Moselle is going principally up. You have on this side of the Moselle, you have Luxembourg on the other side of Germany, and the French border from here, I think about 30 kilometers.
Okay.
And the Westwall, all these region here was fortificated, and there are two great, in German we call Bauwerks, here at the entrance of the Moselle. One in Eagle in this direction about 500 meter, and two of the other side in Konz.
I mean, you are a little exposed in the pillbox on top of a bridge.
But here you can see a rest of an inscription. Here you can read Scharte nur zum... Oh je, was heißt denn das? Zum Schießen öffnen. This was the armored plate. And this was for the muzzle for the machine gun. And you put something aside, normally. Yeah. And when you have light in bunker, here normally is inscripted when die Scharte offen Licht aus. Also when this is open, you must switch the light off. Some years ago, here are some other inscriptions. Yeah, there is only the what by Tage when they. Here is only by Gasgefahr. I think here was a stove, and this stove you can close the
vent.
The vent, where the smoke is going outside. You can close it, then no gases come inside the shelter.
And then you still have the armor inside the walls for the observation.
Yeah.
Or I guess machine guns if you want to stick one through there. There was a little little platform? Or what was these?
I don't know what it is. Here you have a table. You can see the screws here. They call it Schießtisch. That was normally in some cases for MG08, normally for MG34, but sometimes for MG made by Czech origin, MG37T or something else.
They wouldn't use any Maxim guns here?
Yes, Maxim.
Maxim, yeah.
Maxim is this
Oh,
MG08.
Yeah.
The table is always the same, but the thing you put the machine gun inside is always different.
Yeah.
We have mountings for 34, we have mountings for MG08, and
this was a sliding door.
probably
This was the door
yes.
backstop.
Yes.
That's a very serious backstop.
When you are inside the bunker and see the entrance, you could shoot here by a by an 08 pistol, or sometimes the concrete here is cutted down to have place for a magazine for an MP40 or MP38, 40.
That'll be interesting to see when we find that.
Americans came up the Saar. They had occupied first these three-angled area between the Saar and the Moselle. They crossed the Saar and then they came up to Konz, and then they go further down inside Germany.
And now it's for sale.
Yes, it's for sale. The German railway organization today, the Bundesbahn or the Deutsche Bahn AG, will sell it.
I always wanted a broken bridge. Can I live in it?
In 1937, the construction of the Gerstfeldenhöhe fortress began. It was to be the largest of 11 Type A works planned between Aachen and the Weisburger Senke. These were huge underground complexes, connected by mini rails, connecting multiple combat blocks in the same way as the Ostwald. Here was planned a total of 14 kilometers of combat supply tunnels dug into the mountain, with tunnel passages, including machine halls, a huge military hospital, barracks for 800 men, narrow-gauge train stations, and ammunition depots. It was to be the largest of these works, even with a B-work attached and connected by a 68-meter shaft from the tunnel level to the combat blocks above, and an additional 100 machine gun positions and anti-tank bunkers around these. However, in 1940, before all of these elaborate plans could be realized, the work was halted after the successful invasion of France. And in 1939-40, the tunnels were used as a command post for troops stationed in the area, and in addition, part of the lower level was later made accessible for the civilian population seeking protection in the tunnels from the air raids on Pirmasens and the surrounding area. As work stopped, 3 work groups with 10 combat blocks and 4 observation bunkers had been completed, and approximately 5 kilometers of tunnels had been dug out. In 1944, before Operation Northwind, the 6th Mountain SS came here from Finland and stayed there on 31 December for one night before moving off into the Battle of the Ardennes. All of the combat blocks were completely destroyed by the French after the war, and the passage tunnels is currently closed. The lower level was used by the American Army for storage until 1991. The cleared tunnels are now being cared for very well and used as a phenomenal museum, with amazing displays of arms and vehicles, and displays that are relevant to the fighting that took place in this area. An interesting construction note is the small side tunnels to the main tunnels here were for construction. When they built the tunnels, they blew their way into the mountain as we've seen before, and then they set the charges. Thereafter the workers would duck into these small side tunnels during the actual explosions and hurry back to work. One large mystery about this place still exists. That is of the large underground hospital. Nobody actually knows if it was constructed or not. So still today, efforts to find it are underway.
And this is the other 8-8. The one which is in a different condition. You know how the Germans could work on developing heavy artillery weapons, like the 8-8? Krupp, you know.
Yes.
The German steel company. They bought 2 steel companies in Sweden, and they sent their engineers up there so they could develop this 8-8 weapon. They were working on it in Sweden. We have this closed for visitors of some reasons. One is the security question.
But this is the fun part.
This is the most impressive part.
I know. This is.
What you find here are hundreds of graffitis from American soldiers being here.
Yeah.
And like this one, 68. There is others, 75. A different kind of graffitis.
But these were this was part of the original construction.
This is the original construction. In here, even if it's wet, they had air conditioning everywhere in here.
Yeah.
And they had storage. The sea rations also in here. All the rocks are full with graffitis from the use of the fortification after World War II. And I'm looking for one of the most interesting. When I find it, is this one.
Make love, not caves.
Definitely from the 60s.
No kidding, yeah.
65, 60, yeah, 65.
That was one of the strangest things we found in the East Wall Tunnel, which was occupied by the Russians forever.
Yeah.
Was a drawing of Jimi Hendrix.
Oh.
And you're like, I did not know Jimi Hendrix was well known behind the Iron Curtain, but okay.
So you pay attention when you go down, it's a little bit slippery. So we do not open this, we haven't this part opened for visitors since many years, because some visitors thought they should do their own graffiti on the wall.
I see.
And this is what we don't want. We want to preserve this part of history.
Are these the original pipes or
Probably the ones the
Americans
put in the 50s. Yeah.
Oh wow. That was unexpected.
Imagine in this part, in a condition like this, without a concrete floor, the citizens of this village and citizens of the town of Pirmasens could stay here permanently during the period of the air attacks.
So they use these as shelters.
This was used as a big shelter. There were over 600 beds in here. And at the end, you see this cross. And this was the part where they had their church service. And children had school in here. The community had the files, and people could stay here day and night.
So did they actually stay there? Was there bombing here?
In the village, only once they tried to bomb the fortification, but the bomb was dropped a few kilometers far away from here.
That's interesting because, the bombing campaign was so inaccurate. So the villagers originally had a cross set up here.
This cross was built from members of the association. In fact, it is a cross built from one of the artists you saw at the entrance.
Yes.
And they put the light around. From people who used to be childs at that time, that they had church service here.
And it's surrounded by an armored ring. This is the anchor
The six-sided tower.
that somebody sawed off the top off to use the metal.
Yes.
Seen that before, yes. They really got up there with the graffiti, didn't they?
Yes.
So there's no graffiti from the Germans or from the inhabitants of the village?
No.
Really?
We didn't find it, but I see new graffitis every time I come here and I look. But I think the inhabitants here, they had other problems at that time. maybe some of young people who had been in here before it was American use.
That's possible, yeah. I mean, maybe you could open it up to guided tours so people won't do graffiti.
Yes, I do that
because
my American guests. I open them large.
you're hiding another 88 from me. So where did that come from?
It was also on the way,
Oh, one of the Spanish.
yes.
I didn't know I had to go to Spain to buy myself an 88. Now that it's sitting here, it's so pretty. You still have bits and pieces from the... So all these tunnels, they stopped building in 38, or in 40, in 40. So that's all this was under construction in 40 when, okay.
With the people who stayed here was in a time where citizens got evacuated, in fact, a second time. The citizens in the border zone, they definitely had to leave. Before World War II started, they had to leave within one day. So they went by train, most of them, to Landstuhl, which is close to Ramstein, and Kaiserslautern. There, a family had got the message to empty a room. The situation, the whole citizens of Pirmasens had been evacuated. And we talk about 40,000 people who lived in that town at that time.
Really?
And the villages directly in the border line, there were some church towers who had been demolished, not to be a target for the artillery.
This was 1940. Was it 1940 or 1944?
Well, probably 1940, 1939, 40. No, the evacuation was 1939.
That was 1939.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the one, yes.
With the beginning of World War II.
Yes.
And the people could come back after the Frankreichfeldzug in August of 41. They could come back. In August 40, they could come back.
That's so another exit. Or
yes, and this is the one where the trucks were supposed to try it. The one there is leading us to the parking place.
yes. Do you have a brewery in town?
No, this is a friend of us who has a company.
So this was bricked up.
Yes.
What's in there?
Probably another little
A little side tunnel?
side tunnel, yes.
Do you think this was bricked up by the Americans too?
Yes, a lot of this side tunnels had been closed by the Americans, by the company who did the concrete floor.
Okay, yeah.
And where we don't have the files from.
I always said we haven't found the last piece of information yet.
No. Lots of collection stuff found on battlefields or found by different collectors.
Are these World War I parts?
As well as World War II parts.
Is this an assault from the late Sturmgeschütz?
I can't tell you from which vehicle it is.
I wrote a book about the Sturmgeschütz. I should know this. It's a very heavy, it could also be, oh, how big is this? How big is this? There's the breach, there's the breach. Oh, this is, what is this? This is 75, or is it a 75 or an 88? If it's an 88, it's the Jagdtiger. Either it's the Jagdtiger.
Yes.
This is from a Jagdtiger, isn't it?
Yes, I think, yes.
Wow. Where did this come from? Franco-Prussian, or is this for destruction?
No,
Isn't it
probably.
very large Napoleonic war? All the battle damage this thing took. Wow, this took a lot of damage. Do you have any idea where they came from?
No.
I was thinking some of them could almost have been sitting on an artillery range somewhere.
There's a few iconic weapons of the Second World War. The 88 must be said to be one of them, and here they have 3. Did not tell me that when I got here, but you're just gonna have to show up and see for yourself. Of course, given the military expansion in the 1930s, a caserne was also built here in 1935, and post-war it was used by the French forces all the way up till the 1990s. The area is currently under some renovation, but there are a few very interesting remnants here from the time of the West Wall. One is an original condition, not destroyed or blown up, machine gun bunker, fully with camouflaged stone and all, which is interesting as it is situated in the middle of a caserne area.
This is the same door as on the east wall, same size.
Das ist Pionierprogramm, ja. You can see here, das ist concrete, and this is camouflage.
That's the camouflage. So this, from the outside, looked like
Like a normal
something else. Oh, but it's on a military barracks, so
Yeah.
they would still have bombed it. Somebody would have.
This is emergency exit. If the door is blocked by concrete, you can
Yes.
put it outside and get out the bunker.
Close protection.
This is the entrance, like the same like on the bridge.
Im Gehstand, okay.
Baujahr 1900.
Something. Where did the date go? What do you think, 38, 39?
No chance.
Oh, it's always a chance.
Light.
The armored doors were scrapped.
Yes.
Here's your emergency exit. That's the first time I've ever seen the original writing on that.
Ja, das ist auch das Schöne. Deswegen bin ich auch froh, dass der Zug gesperrt ist, denn sonst würden sie das immer wieder aufmachen.
Yeah, the last thing we need is somebody to start doing graffiti in here. Like that.
Und das Schöne ist, dass hier these inscriptions are also from German people. After 1940, this shelter was probably used as fuel dump. In the barracks, they don't need the shelter, and therefore they use it for storing fuel. You can see diesel, you can see benzene. I can show it.
Yeah. Oh. Look at the original letters here.
This is German.
That it is. That's the... Yes, that was the first on
That was
Platz,
first,
and then
and that
they
was
did this
afterwards.
because this, yeah.
When the French said use it, there was described gasoil.
There was. Did this used to be the crew, or the?
Normally
for
for ammunition.
Oh, this was from so this has shelves. Okay, well, that makes sense.
This is for communication, for telephone. Here you can see for the telephone.
So was there both telephone and radio in here?
Only telephone.
Only telephone. And you have the Holzstübel. And the cables in the ground.
The cables came from there.
Yeah.
And this was later, I think. This wall.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Not original.
It does look a little. Ah, the steel plate. That's the same design as the lace floor.
Yes.
That's standard.
Okay. And this is for water, for cooling the Maxim machine gun.
Really?
Yes.
So they would pump it from there and then up into the machine gun?
Yes.
Instead of having it hanging over here and running down?
They always had this table with the machine gun, and therefore
I mean,
but here, jerry cans empty, Benzinkanister leer.
okay, yeah. And of course there's ventilation for if the guns were to fire. And of course the doors are missing because them they have taken.
Yes. And you can see here, during the French, this is a French inscription. This is German. 35 Flaschen, 48, 91 Flaschen für Motoröl.
Oh, so they would actually write down straight on the wall what they had.
Yes. And then this Pizzerie René wahrscheinlich, zweite Batterie, deuxième batterie, Chambray, Savoie. This is French.
So how long were the French here?
Just until 1900 and... oh, I don't know. They were later because it was one of the last barracks the French left. In the 90s, I think.
Okay.
The same thing here. The whole area.
The whole area. Is that the main road out there, isn't it? Or
Yeah, that's the main road.
that's the road we drove in on, or is that the public road?
No, this is the road we drove in.
Okay.
It's on this side. This is the road we... No, this is the side. Goes to the barracks here, and the road we drove in is behind this building there. This building is from the French.
The stone building, or that building there on the side. Yeah. That
Yes,
one.
this is from the French. This could be an original Wehrmacht building. I don't know exactly. But this is surely from the French, because I've got the plans from an architect who worked for the French after the World War.
traditional armor plate. This is a good, what is that? 7, 8, 10, 15 centimeters thick? This is
About 10.
about 10, yeah. And they were standardized as well because they look the same everywhere.
There were standardized. Das ist ja certain Schartenplatten, die haben dann bestimmte Nummern.
Yeah. I guess also if they used this for storage, the doors would get in the way.
Probably.
Probably, yeah. I mean, the more. Was this for the Luftraum or for radio or?
No, this was, you can see it's at Goethes. There was a certain machine, a pillar lifter, with the hand.
Oh, the hand crank, that's what
Yes.
was on there, yeah.
And this was going inside here, and here you can turn around. This was in greater things from Westphal, it was electrically, here it was made by hand.
Yeah. I like how that's actually encased on.
The same case like on the other side, also the water cooling the machine gun
Yeah.
08.
It's the first time I
Yeah,
see
right.
that on the ground. I'm used to them hanging up over the gun, having the water with gravity. So there must have been a pump for that to pump it to the machine gun. What a cute little bunker. Well, it is a west wall bunker, and it's still intact, and we like that.
Between the barracks are 3 small buildings, connected by very large pipes, and we can't seem to discern exactly why. So I wanted to show them to you, because they're a bit of a mystery for us. We all expect this was heating, ventilation in some way, but there doesn't seem to be any outside connection besides the 3 buildings. You give us a hint.
Tell me.
Also schön ist es hier drin nicht.
Oh, ist das Ventilation House? Für Ventilation für alle oder Heizung oder?
Nee, ich denke, man hat hier das Krabbeln geübt, unterirdische Krabbeln, weil da hinten ist der Ausgang oder Eingang, je nachdem wie du siehst.
Oh ja, das.
Da hinten gehen die Rohre, siehst du ja,
Ja.
ob man da aus dem Indochina-Krieg oder
Huh.
sowas geübt hat.
I don't know. I mean, if I see pipes like that, I would think ventilation or air circulation, but to another building that looks the same,
Yes.
doesn't make sense. Unless there's something here on the floor, on the ground somewhere. This has rounded walls, which is unusual. But why would it be from a building to another building? I've never seen that before. Then it would just be a pipe out in the field. So this is the old barracks from,
Yes.
was that from World War I or World War II?
World War II.
World War II.
It must be World War II because the Rhineland was demilitarized just until 1935.
Yes.
1936.
36,
excuse me.
yeah.
And the old barracks, for example, in Trier, they used for poor people, and therefore they must build new barracks.
Oh. Yes, was but this construction, so this was built in 1937, 38?
Yes, in this time.
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of the casernes and barracks back then, they were built in the 1800s or even 1700s and just reused, and they look a little older. This is a newer but still old design. Bigger bricks, plastered.
Austerlitz is an inscription from the French period.
Austerlitz. Didn't we have a battle in the Napoleonic Wars? Napoleon, the 1971, wasn't Austerlitz a battlefield? If I remember correctly?
No,
Austerlitz?
Austerlitz is Napoleon first.
Napoleon
19
first? Oh, yes.
19...
Okay, now I'm really confused. So the pipes come out underneath us.
They come out here, and I think you can go inside by the side.
I don't know, but they used it since the war. That's new. Well, new, it was new 40 years ago, but it's post-war.
The electric?
Yeah.
Yes, but the whole barracks had been new equipped just a little bit before they give it up. They had new heatings, new windows, new inside.
Yeah, the French renovated, yeah.
But this here is an old one. You can look at it. This is from the 30s, certainly.
Yes.
And there's a lamp too. This is backlight.
Yeah.
Yep. This is an old one.
So this house is smaller than the other one. What is this? And you have the holes in the roof from above. This is much smaller. And you know what? Here's the third. There's only two pipes in the other one. Here's the third. This one, that's the one with the tire.
Yes.
Yes.
And
then there's this one, was the one next to it. Yes, and see the graffiti down there. So what? Where does this go?
I think in another room beside the we get in, but I don't know.
And there's straight pipes, and there's no.
That is for water, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'll buy that. And somebody rewired it and used something down here, so somebody must know what this was. I'm really curious. And even if it was heating or machinery, there's no room in here for anything. And where would they go? The third one could come out, yeah. So there's a small little. That makes even less sense than anything else I can think of. Yeah, they're literally above ground. They're just covered up. Well, they're not very deep, put it that way. Same little ones down there. And the stairs are a little iffy. And here's the last one. Here.
But this door is also old for I think.
But the electrical was new, so they were still using it, whatever it was. And it looks like something was hanging.
But there was a certain room.
Yeah.
Now we're both sure that there is a logical, common sense explanation to these small three buildings in this old barracks, and one of you will write me and tell me what it is. Right? Sadly, as we are constantly reminded as we drive through the countryside, looking for locations where bunkers used to be, and supposedly being under preservation, still many are destroyed for the simple excuses of road building or other. But we went for a walk in the woods to find the few that are still standing, and this one is extra special to Markus, as he found it many years ago and excavated the dirt from it himself. It's a small machine gun bunker connected by trenches to more bunkers that are no longer here.
This is an MG Schartenstand B. I had asked Günther for better information from the Luftverteidigungszone West. Here are a lot of other shelters, but they are all destroyed or in German übererdet worden in den 80er Jahren. Und I lived here in the village Rheinsfeld, and I had an old German Wanderkarte, 1 to 25,000, and I saw all these shelters as ruins. And every day I had time, I looked for it. And one day I found this one, and I saw this was only slightly damaged. And then I began digging in the inside, and I found a lot of German ammunition from carabines, but in iron. The latest version, die Hülse in Eisen und das Geschoss aus Sintereisen. Das war so die 45 production.
We have nothing left to make anything with, so
Yes.
yeah. So there was a fight between the Germans and the American advancing army here.
Yes, but I think they scrapped all the restly ammunition and blowed it up with the shelters. This is often made because the other shelters in this region too were full of ammunition. You found this German egg hand grenades, you found ammunition for a carabine or for MG, for a machine gun and something else.
So there was was there fighting here?
Fighting was on the road. We climbed up from Trier to this village, and then the Americans went to the Rhine very fast.
So we have to go dig up all the other bunkers. Well, you still have the map, so you know where they are, right?
I don't have the map now, but all the others are completely destroyed. The ceiling is blowing away, and you found only rests. I think this one, if they had not enough to blowing up completely, I don't know.
So they blew them up at the end of the war or
Yes,
after the war?
near the French people.
The French.
The French. Rheinland-Pfalz was given from the Americans to French at mid-1945.
So you only have one firing direction?
Only one firing direction, and Günther had told me, and I think this is very interesting, I asked him why this here is.
That's what I was thinking. I was
Yes.
just wondering if this was going to be another wall.
There were wood, and they fixed wood also, and they camouflaged this shelter probably as a small blockhouse or wooden house.
It almost must have been, because there's no other reason why you would fit for wooden siding.
Yes.
So he literally was protecting that way. What direction is this?
This is the direction via this village Rheinsfeld, I think. It's in this area.
Is that south? Southwest? What are we pointing that
This
way?
is southwest.
Southwest.
Yes. West is here. West, north, southwest, yes.
And they still had the hooks for the camouflage netting.
Yes, this is the hook for the
So they had a little bit of everything here.
Yes.
Interesting. I wonder if we're close defensive position. There used to be a roof over here, an overhang, didn't there? Something.
Camouflage that you can overhang. There was a big iron or steel thing. They had removed it before demolishing. They removed always mostly of the metal parts to
Yeah.
scrap them.
Well,
But I think it's still interesting. has a great lot of the original painting.
It does. It has the same paint as the east wall.
Yeah.
Is there any writing in it?
Writing?
Did they write any writing, graffiti, anything from the time? Close defensive position. And the door is gone. And there's a staircase. Oh, there's so many little flying things in here. That's just great. So if they're writing anything on the walls, us.
There are no writings on the wall, but no modern paintings too.
Oh yeah, thank God for that. So we will not tell anybody where it is. That's what we don't need. And there still is an emergency exit?
This is the emergency exit.
That's amazing. It's so small and it's so high up, there's still an emergency exit. But of course here would have been a big steel plate.
Here was it, yes. I think in this, and another one was here.
Yeah. So they couldn't have gotten out this way anyway. That's a nice big bolt. So what's that?
That is an old TV because somebody blowed up his old TV.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. But you dug this up. You dug this out and
Yes, when I found it, it was like this. And we, about 40 years ago, take all the things, this is all from...
you've been doing this all your life.
Yes, I do it all my life.
I wonder, is there a medal we can give people like you for doing this your whole life? I think you should have a medal.
You can see it here. This is a marking of the steel.
Yes. Where's the one thing? B20. B20? Well. Very, very simple. But yeah, you can see the explosion.
Yes.
You see there's, yeah.
But
And the
it's possible
foundation
that-
moved a little
that
bit
they
too.
only exploded ammunition in this shelter, probably.
Yes, because yeah. I would imagine if you put even a tank mine in here, it would have been more damaged.
Yeah.
So just a lot of small ammunition and hand grenades. And an emergency exit. I like that it's here. Is there a periscope or ventilation?
Well, I think ventilation or for a stove, probably, to heat.
In the middle? But then again, no, do you think the stove would be here?
This is ventilation because this is
That's ventilation.
going outside.
The stove would have been there, I think.
There are some ventilation holes, and I think there of the tube for the fireplace.
I think you're right. Yeah, there's the left of it. Rest of it. Metal is really shredded now. And there was a lot of these small bunkers, wasn't there?
Yes. It's probably that the emergency exit was constructed. You can not seen from the enemy climb on the roof of the shelter. Normally when the shelter is in the earth, you have this staircase in a...
Yeah, it would be covered up.
It would be covered up with keys.
Yes.
You put these things from the inside away, and then you must in another shelter in Saarburg in the Kaserne. There is described open and nach oben minieren. Also, dass man halt der Kies rollte dann ja von selbst aus diesem Schacht raus.
Yeah. Same in the Atlantic Wall.
Yeah.
So maybe this was covered up with dirt, and there was a little tunnel. But do you think they pushed dirt up on the side?
Das wird auch für ein Periskop gewesen.
Das will ich so sagen.
Der Ofenrohr war eher hier, würde ich sagen. Das
Yes.
ist das, was wir von der Ecke gesehen haben.
Yeah. Yeah, right in the corner. That's where I thought. Yeah. So one for ventilation, one for the stove, and then one that might have been periscope. I've always imagined there would have been. Have a nice view. I mean, it would make sense with the periscope so you can see all around. Even if you can only fight in one direction, at least you can see what's going on around you. There are trenches surrounding this, running down here. And the trenches say that way. Did you ever search the trenches with a metal detector?
No.
Well, I guess we'll know what we'll do next year then. What a nice little bunker. And here are the trenches that are running in front of the bunker, which makes sense because that would make the fighting direction down here on the right.
And then there were the large underground storage tunnels that was constructed in the 30s. And I find these really interesting, especially as it clearly shows an intent and forethought to move storage and possibly even production underground. These are explained as huge U-shaped tunnel systems, but the evident security on some of them still today makes it clear that there's some thought of preservation or current usage. Over future episodes, we will get into a few of these and I'll show you more details.
So I see 3 tunnels. I see an entrance. Well, no, is that...
You're right, that's 3 ones. On the other side are 3 ones too. It's only for storage, for ammunition, for sanitary material, and in the language of this region, those ones, but especially the other ones, so similar to those, are called the Porzellanstollen. You know China bone porcelain?
Yes.
They had stored in these shelters millions of cups, of dishes, of other things. And after the war, I don't know who it was, had destroyed everything. Everything is in the wood. You can see white rests of those porcelain. especially on the other place, but here too. And some had gone to the houses in Zarek, and you can find in these houses coffee cans, dishes, cups, mostly unmarked, but some are marked with the Reichsadler and with the firm.
Why would they destroy them?
I don't know, because a cup after the war was really a very, very
Valuable.
expensive, valuable thing, yes.
Yeah. So these were built just to store and safeguard things.
Yes. The Wehrmacht stored probably ammunition, they stored probably sanitary material. And the interesting thing here is that one, I think. I think this is to wash something or to drink horses.
For the horses, yeah. Yeah, this looks like a trough. A divided trough for the horses. Which is very nicely... I mean, they wouldn't build a custom trough here if it wasn't because they would come here often.
Yes.
And of course it's closed.
Of course it's closed for the bats.
So all over Germany, they built these
No,
little tunnel
only
systems
the back area of the West Wall.
in the middle of nowhere.
The other one is a little bit bigger. It was used by the French army and afterwards by the Bundeswehr. It's deep about 15 meters, I think, and then it goes like this to the other one. In those valleys there exist more. In these valleys only this one, another one, and 3 I know, but it could be more.
But this was cheap and easy. You could put small production in here,
Yes.
and there's a lot more of those than we might think. This would be fast to build too.
Yes.
You dig in, and they were built before the war.
And it's no concrete inside.
No
It's-
concrete inside either.
The concrete is just into 2 meters and it finishes. Then it's like the part of the Westgasfeld who was not
Yeah.
finished.
It's just amazing. The things that you find in forests in the middle of nowhere. Just a little tunnel. Has a red brick wall in there that has been broken. Just a little tunnel. This is the strangest thing.
This is completely...
Another cup. Just amazing why they would do that. And considering all the German cities that have been bombed, that
Yes.
doesn't have any coffee cups or porcelain or plates or anything.
Here's a quite bigger rest.
Oh yes. Looks very modern too.
Yes, it's... Do you want to take it?
Oh, I never take things from places.
You do.
Because then the next guy don't get to see it.
It's totally demolished inside.
Yeah. Ah, so here's another tunnel entrance. This is bigger.
you put here in a way you found. This is
Holy hell. There's a steel plate in there. So somebody drilled that out
yes.
and put the plate in.
I think they had closed it, and then I can. Do you know this documentation, Das unterirdische Reich?
Yeah.
You can see all these things you told to me.
Yeah.
And in one of these films, these people from Oberbergamt are with a machine who is doing this,
Yeah.
open a certain kind of Untertagerverlagerung. And I think they are obliged to control these things in certain distances.
See, that's interesting because if they opened this to get in there, when they have all the lower entrances, that would be easier. This is your key. Maybe the tunnel systems are not connected.
This is possible, yes.
In the next episode, it's time to go to the Hürtgen forest, where I will show you just exactly what the Allies were up against, both bunkers and terrain. I'll take you through the battle from the lost battlefields themselves, so you can see exactly why they were referred to as the meat grinder. Behind me is Vanna von Braun's first test stand. Down the road is Dietmar's nuclear reactor. Over there is the Maginot Line and all its amazing forts. I'm visiting them all and I'm bringing them to you. So I really appreciate you like, follow and share what I'm doing, trying to document all these important historical locations. And if you feel like you want to watch more pictures or documents that I use for these, go to lostbattlefields.com. And if you feel like helping me out with my travels, because gasoline and travel and airfare is expensive, my PayPal is there, protectionserviceint.com. You are more than welcome, but you don't have to. I appreciate all your support and all your help, and I love seeing these locations, and I love bringing them to you.